PIN followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a PIN, just press pound or hash.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey Dan, it's Lee at Transversal. You alright?
How are you? All okay here?
It's Lee at Transversal. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. How was your weekend?
It was okay. Watching the final and all that.
Yeah, it was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course. I'd watched the majority of the World Cup. I wasn't going to miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really entertaining. Had everything. It was like a little bit of a microcosm of the entire World Cup in one game. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Had everything.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Just let you know, Max is running like 3 or 4 minutes late, so he's going to be here.
Yeah, I saw the email.
3 or 4 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. Very good. Yeah, so I'm just going to dart off once Max gets on. I'll introduce you both and then let you guys crack on.
Cool.
Because I'm out of the office in the job, well, pretty much all of tomorrow and Wednesday, so
Yeah.
I've got loads to do.
What is his last name, Max?
Adcock. ADCOCK.
A-T-C?
Alpha, Delta, Charlie, Oscar, Charlie, Kilo.
Okay.
Cool. How's the research going?
Oh, difficult, man. I'm yeah, trying to find ways to actually add value because when you look at the stats from FedEx and from warehouse, it's all like these guys have it pretty much under control, and
Yeah.
so yeah, then the function could be to really try to gather from them like what has been successful, how they have reached this success level, in order for us to document like the best practice, like this is the way to do it. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm intending to do on your side. Then on university side, it's a little bit more complex because it's about I was willing to do it on artificial intelligence, so it's more on how to obtain value from artificial intelligence, and it's not really easy at the moment from what you guys have.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, even if you guys don't actually name it that way, it's like that. It is artificial intelligence. That's what is done. I mean, you have natural language processing, and you have massive data analysis, and yeah, so there's a lot related to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right.
So yeah, I understand Heather is not happy with the term artificial intelligence, but I think you guys either way you should use it, at least commercially, because you saw Friday that these guys actually have that like a differentiator for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I believe it is used commercially. It's just that the understanding of that term can be deducted in many different ways, and I think we just have to. I think what we found it with in the experience we've had is that it can be used in those very different ways, and I think more often than not, what we've had meetings where like clients or prospects have said, well, what elements of it are AI and things like that. What is artificial intelligence? And they think one thing and we'll tell them something different, and that can sometimes confuse.
Disappointing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just got to be incredibly clear as to, okay, cool, if we've got that messaging and that in the commercial environment, then great, but ultimately we've got to be very strict on what that actually means and make sure we call that out from day one.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than just saying a buzzword and then coming up with some sort of many descriptions. But yeah, so I think, to be honest, more often than not, it is used in a commercial environment. Consultants who tend not to use it unless we're thrown in a development environment, and then if they want to talk about it, we can do. But we call it what it is, basically, end of the day. But you are spot on.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So
how long have you got? I was going to say, how long have you got left before you have to present?
Well, I have to present to you probably it's going to be Heather, and the CFO. Probably it's going to be not this week, not the next. 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks. Counting this one, it's 3 weeks.
Sure.
Hello.
Hey, Max.
Hi, sorry I'm late. Hey, Lee.
You're right, dude. No worries. We've also got Dan on the line as well. He's one of our interns we've got in here for the summit that's working on. Actually, Dan, what are you working on? Might be better coming from you, actually.
Yeah. Well, hi, Max. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, so I'm an intern. I'm doing some research work on trying to establish some best practices, both on the automation and augmentation of the knowledge of people working with this system, and of course some of the best practices for transversal to like identify what is the best way to do things, and you guys definitely nailed it on how you use the system. So it's definitely you are a very good example for it. So it's definitely a good source of information, this opportunity to interview you.
Cool. So Max, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually jump off before I introduce you both. Now I'll jump off and let you guys speak candidly, because we can ask you questions about how it's gone and UX, and could we do anything differently with the product itself, and just bits and pieces like that. So I'll let you guys chat candidly, and Max will catch up later this week.
All right, mate. Nice one, Lee.
Cheers, dude. Nice one. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much.
No worries. Bye.
Bye. All right, Max. Thank you for this call. Do we have like 25 minutes? Is that your timing?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So let's start with the questions. I'm sorry to jump right over, but let's do this. I'm really interested. I understand from what Lee told me that you have been involved in the transversal project since inception. Is that correct?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. And your specific role is, if you can tell me that?
Yeah, so it's changed over the years. So when I first got involved, it was supporting Laura move knowledge content from our old intranet over to getting it ready to migrate over to transversal. So we used a legacy system we piggybacked our knowledge base onto our old intranet. So my first introduction to it was helping Laura go through and move all of the old knowledge onto a spreadsheet, cutting out all the content that we didn't want anymore, and helping come up with sort of categories for how we wanted to lay it out. So I used to be in our quality team here, so I used to play a role in maintaining the old knowledge on there. So that's where I got involved. And as time has gone past, we formed a customer experience team. So we do a number of different things here. We look after the knowledge base. We're in charge of all internal communication, and we do process reviews as well. So Albert and Transversal falls part of our remit and the new team that came with us.
Cool. Nice. So definitely you've been from the beginning. So if I understand correctly, those legacy systems were not knowledge bases. It was not a SharePoint. It was more different transactional systems and Excel sheets, right?
Yeah. So we used to it was basically a SharePoint sort of website that was mainly geared towards hosting our intranet, like our staff directory. But we'd been using it for a knowledge base, but it wasn't specifically designed for that. It was basically using a staff directory and folder system to host the knowledge.
All right.
It didn't even have a search engine, so the only way people could find content was by navigating down different tiers of categories until they found the article.
Oh, there was no search capability?
No.
Whoa. Okay, cool. Yeah, things are like that. I've seen a few.
Yeah.
Cool. Max, I'm from the I studied in what's the name of it? My undergraduate studies were on systems implementation. I mean, I'm a systems engineer, and one of the things we usually did was try to align the objectives of a certain system to specific business objectives. Those could be either one or two or the three of them, meaning cost reduction, like the first kind of objective for a business, quality improvement, or revenue growth. So if we check on the transversal implementation with you guys, how would you categorize it?
So we had a few sort of objectives when we came over to this. So the first one was to deliver knowledge to the advisors in a quicker way, with the aim of hopefully reducing our call times. And because we didn't really have a external facing help section for our we've got two other areas. We've got a customer facing help section on our website, and then we've also got a help section to support our distributors who sort of sell our products. So they didn't actually have, well, we had a very basic help section for both, so that was the sort of secondary part of that, was to provide them with extra support.
And then you would probably say that that reduction of time was not really on trying to make money out of it, like a reduction of cost, but rather on making better quality for how you treat your customers, right?
Yeah, that was the main sort of drive behind it, was to improve the tools available for our advisors so they could deliver a better service and experience.
Exactly, definitely. Nice. So from what I can see on the statistics of your usage of the systems, I understand that your utilities warehouse seems to have found like the key abilities to make the system really work for you. Can you share with me those key success factors that you can identify?
So really it was about winning over the business to sort of come to us whenever they wanted knowledge to be publicised and briefed out. So it was a journey. Beforehand, we were often finding that changes were being made to processes. We were only finding out after the changes had been made, sort of always playing catch up, so knowledge was always out of date. And we progressed to a world now where people approach our team when there's a process change or a knowledge update. We update it, schedule it in, we brief it out to the various teams at head office. When we've created a sort of culture of feeding back and giving suggestions when people can't find help that they need. We've got a dedicated guy in our team who works on Albert 24/7, so we've got one full-time member of staff managing all of the knowledge, the changes, the updates, the briefs. That's Kieran.
Nice. And would you define the success to be like a technology success, I mean system success, or is it an organizational success, or even different, could be a leadership success, like this was something that came from the leadership team and said this is how we're going to do stuff, or if this is more like an upwards kind of success?
I think it's a combination of things. Okay. Yeah, I think we were very lucky that our CEO was very much behind this change. So there was quite a lot of pressure from above. Laura did a lot of work with all the managers across the business. There were sort of focus groups where we had different teams trialling it when it first launched. And there was a sort of real culture shift to making it feel that this is your knowledge base to everyone. You've got a chance. We sort of sold it to the business as it's not perfect, and we're aware that it's probably missing bits of content. So it's down to you to help it evolve and get smarter. So it's really important you feedback. So it's probably a combination of things. I think it was more of a culture shift here, more than anything else.
Definitely.
The technology obviously helps because the search engine is very new. We didn't have that before.
Yeah. So it's up to the people to make it work.
Yeah, and we sort of embedded it from the very beginning. So when a new starter joins our company, there's a specialised training session on how to use it, how to get the most out of it. If you can't find anything, feedback. So from all of our training and inductions built around it. So we train on scenario-based training, and every scenario is linked to a help article.
So you're training your people, like not to know stuff, but rather to know where to locate stuff, right?
Yeah, so that they're trained with the skill on how to use it. They are trained on sort of basic core knowledge, but then they're trained on how to access that if they need a refresher. At the moment, our CRM that we use is going through a bit of a transformation, but Lee may have told you that the way that our CRM works is very basic. Every action is tied to a common code. So before this was introduced, we have like 1,000 different processes, all with a unique code that advisors have to remember. Now every code's got a match in a help article.
Wow. So tedious.
So when you compare us to other businesses that use Transversal, their CRMs are quite often ones we've seen are much further ahead, where like the help content's embedded within the processes. We don't have any of that at the moment. So advisors really do have to rely on the help centre for support.
Yeah, of course. And now that we're talking about this, which pitfalls you would recommend a new client that comes in Transversal for? What pitfalls would you recommend for clients to avoid that you could identify?
Okay, so I think the biggest mistake that we made as a business working with Transversal was we were given the impression that you had to really rely on adding lots of keywords to articles, rather than using the sort of inbuilt indexing. So what we did at launch was every article had about 20, 30 keywords attached to it, which threw off the weighting when advisors were searching. Because I think the way that the system's set up, that if something has a keyword, to lift that up to the top of the search, which was stopping it from sort of naturally learning what articles should be at the top of the list and at the bottom.
Okay, so
when we first launched, people just saying, I can't find the content anywhere. And then it took a long time to unravel and unpick the damage we'd caused by that.
Okay.
And what we really sort of struggled with as well is because people were so used to like a navigation system where they were clicking through a directory of a top level category to a subcategory until they actually found the article, rather than just using the search engine like Google where you type in a very short abbreviation into it to try and find the page you need, and they would type in the whole header of the article. So like, how do I add an electricity service to my account, rather than searching for add energy? So we just had to do continuous sort of training on just use it like you would Google. It's intuitive. It will learn. But the main pain point was people couldn't find content because we threw the search weighting off.
Yeah. And once you fix those keyword kind of things that you had on your articles, did it go through with no problem?
Yeah, it was fine. As soon as we listed out the keywords within the articles and decision trees, I think we then went through a process where Transversal reset the indexing on all the articles. So it was learning from scratch again. So it then started to learn organically what the best articles were to throw up at the top.
Okay.
What we also did is we started going through some of the reports that were being spat out on a monthly basis. We were looking through what advisors were searching for, and then we were plugging any holes, because there's a particular report that shows the confidence of a search. So we were looking at anything under a certain threshold, and then, okay, does that need an article? Does that need to tie into a particular article so that next time someone searched for it, it took them through? We also, when we launched, we didn't have a spell check, and we soon came to realise that when advisors were rapidly trying to search for something on the go, they weren't spelling things correctly, and that wasn't always taking them through, so we added one of those. And then the second thing we did to help, because of the way our business works, is we've got certain departments that would only need access to certain articles. So what was happening at the very beginning is people in our energy team, for example, were searching for a noisy electricity meter, and people in our technical broadband teams were searching for like a noisy telephone line. So they were getting very similar articles come up that were just completely irrelevant to both parties. So what we did is we created like a weighting. So when you first open the search engine, you're asked to select what department you're in, and that will literally sift out any articles that aren't relevant to you, what categories aren't relevant. And that really did make a difference.
Exactly. Cool. Nice. From watching the usage statistics that you have from year 2015 until now, I can see a trend growing in a 30% growth up till now from the beginning of 30% more sessions than before, yet 100% growth in entry views. So is that a growth in number of agents, or do you see some other reason for that kind of growth? I mean, is it that you've been rolling out in different different departments as well, or is it just like it has been always the same number of agents, and you are implementing strategies to make it better?
Yeah, so it's probably a combination of a few things. We have grown quite massively really since Albert's first launch. I think we're now sitting at just over 1,000 staff members, and it was probably maybe 700 when we first launched. So that would play a part. Our customer base has grown probably 40,000-50,000 customers since we launched, and likewise for our distributors, we've probably grown that side as well. So there'll be more users hitting it, but probably for the advisor view, a lot more people are sort of pressured in where they're asking their team leaders for questions. Team leaders will go, "Well, have you checked Albert? Is there something missing? Why are you asking me? This should be your main source of help." So it's probably a cultural thing where people have bought into it from the very beginning, and so whereas to begin with they were maybe only using it for 3 or out of their 10 questions a day, they're now relying on it more.
Yeah, definitely. And have you implemented like campaigns, internal campaigns to promote usage of the system in any way, like incentives or probably some other type of campaigns like contests and the kind of things?
Probably to begin with we did. But we didn't really want to sort of go down that route. We wanted our staff to feel like this was their tool there to support them. Team leaders, they may have run campaigns within their teams to sort of encourage it. But one of the problems we've got is we don't actually have single sign-on at the moment. It's coming. So one of the limitations with that is we get anonymous feedback and anonymous suggestions. So it's very hard to measure how many, if there's any sort of key players that are feeding back. So it's quite difficult to recognise them at the moment because it just comes through as a randomly associated unique session name. But we are in talks with Lee to bring in single sign-on, so that should hopefully enable us to maybe do some more fun stuff with it.
Yeah, of course. Cool. Have you guys faced something that I call knowledge stabilization? Let's say that there's an article and a few people learn about that article, and then you want me to actually go again and check the article because you already know what it says. And actually that could drive that the article reads get lower and lower in time because everybody already know what they say. Do you face that?
I think for some of them, I think once advisors are familiar with the process, they probably won't go on it as much as they once did. But we've got. It's difficult to say really. I think there are certain articles where things are constantly changing, so they'll go every time there's a process that they need to follow, they'll go to that page. But there are ones that maybe would stay the same for 2 years because there's never been a change to it. There's never been a price increase or a price decrease. So yeah, for those, I would have thought once they've got the hang of it, they wouldn't. That's where it can become a little bit dangerous because if there ever is a change to that page and people think they know it, then they could be giving out incorrect information. So because we're very fortunate that we manage all sorts of communication, so we know when there is a change being made. We've communicated that change to let them know it's really important you check the updated article. Because Kieran does all that himself, he's got quite good control over pushing that.
Of course. Excellent.
But I think we did have some ideas to maybe have like a section at the front of the help section that would highlight any recently updated pages, so that people would know. But I'm not quite sure where we got with that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. This definitely helps. Okay, we already went through the incentives. You say it was not incentive. Okay, so let's talk about the automation features. You know, there are certain automation features on the front end and some in the back end.
Yep.
And I would like to gather your appreciation on the business value you think they add, and how relevant you feel they are. For example, in the front end, we have interpretation of natural language questions. Can you give me your opinion on value of that part?
Say again.
Natural language interpretation, when you enter a question in natural language, do you feel that to be valuable?
Oh, so when you search for something and it automatically associates it with an article that's relevant?
Yeah, and you can enter the question actually in natural language, like what can I do?
Yeah, I think that works great. I think, like I said before, it was a challenge in getting the users of Albert to understand that you could do that because they weren't used to it. But yeah, it's great.
All right. And how about the auto-completion of the question in the search box? Just by entering a few characters, it completes something.
Yeah.
Do you find that useful?
Yeah, I think that one's a bit hit and miss, because what can happen is, as you're searching, it will start dragging down below, and if you hit enter, sometimes it jumps to the one that you've typed in, or sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether or not that's the speed of our network. I think that's to do with sort of connection to the server. It can be a little bit temperamental, but when it's working well, it works well.
Okay.
The reality is, for us here, I think because it loads up so slowly, what people do is they type it out, they'll hit enter, they'll see the 10 results that come up, and then they'll select one from there rather than using the predictive text one.
Oh, okay.
What we've seen when we sat around.
Okay, so it's dependent on the connection.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it makes sense.
When
it makes
it's shown
sense.
us before, it's quite quick, but when we use our network, it doesn't seem to be. I'm not sure if that's our firewall and stuff slowing down.
Yeah, I see that. Definitely, it's probably a good thing to think about for new clients as well. So, how about decision trees? Do you find that to be valuable?
Yeah, so because of the complexity of some of our processes, we probably wouldn't have been able to go with transversal if we didn't have decision trees. It was crucial it was one of the main reasons we decided to go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's great that we use it for a number of different functions. So we bundle similar processes together, and we use it mainly for our technical support team, because they have like 20 questions they need to ask the caller that can veer off in different directions depending on the answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So it's really useful.
Cool. And how about in the back end? How about the creation of knowledge? How do you feel that? Do you feel that you are provided with Transversal? You are provided with enough tools and automation for you to manage the knowledge?
Yeah, so the scheduling controls are absolutely crucial. Some examples being, we have an annual sales conference once a year where we tend to announce all of our major changes. So what the scheduling controls allow Kieran to do, or whoever's working on it, is to start working on them a month before they're live. You can send previews out to like the people that need to sign them off, and then schedule them to go live on a particular morning. So without those, again, I don't think we'd have been able to select Transversal.
Mm-hmm.
There are some sort of pain points that we have, which is we don't have sort of smart links. So what can happen is if you hyperlink to another article, and then that ID changes or it's moved, it doesn't update on the original page. So what we tend to find is we've got a lot of pages with broken links, where the original link to page has changed, been moved or deleted. It doesn't update the original link. I don't know if that's something Transversal plan to change, but that was quite a painful one.
Yeah, definitely.
Kieran or whoever's got to rely on feedback to identify when it's gone wrong.
Right. Have you notified of these to Lee already?
Yeah, they're aware of it. I think it's the case with all of their versions, because we're still running on quite an early edition of the out-of-the-box sort of knowledge centre. I think they've got plans to introduce it to the future version.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a must. It must be hell to deal with that. How about the analysis of confidence levels from search results on all that you can do with statistics on the back office? How do you feel?
The dashboard, I mean, Lee will probably tell you they think that the stats within Transversal is probably the weakest part of the system. There are some real limitations with it. So the main one is you can only search for a time period of 28 days, which is pretty frustrating when you've got more than 28 days in some months. So the sort of real stats that we end up using is on the monthly reports that are produced and sent over. Like, as an example, if you wanted to say you had the ID of a particular help article, it's very difficult to actually pinpoint that in the dashboard to get some metrics on it. You would need to select like a category on the stats, search down the list. You can't search for an ID to actually bring back information on it. So we probably don't really use it. I'll look over to Kieran now, but I don't think we really use the dashboard because it is pretty poor.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely need to change. How about when you perform identification of knowledge gaps, like searches that have been done and have not yielded any good results? Do you actually use that in order to identify new knowledge to be put into the system?
Yeah, we do. So on that monthly report that gets sent over, there is a tab that shows the searches for the month. And we use it to an extent for our internal use, but the results are slightly skewed because when I mentioned at the beginning of the call that we set up categories and department homepages to sort of sift out some of the results that aren't relevant, what will happen is if someone in tech searches for a question that appears outside of their homepage on their weighted categories, it will show that it got a 0 confidence on the search, even though the article exists. Because we built it this way, and Transversal have made some tweaks to the code and and what articles it presents. It's not actually that accurate anymore. So where it should possibly show that the search confidence is 50%, because the article appears outside of their area, it will show as 0, because in their area, according to the sort of stats, it doesn't exist.
Right.
If that might not make sense without any context, but Lee will be able to show you what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Probably you're searching for the type of things that usually are relevant to you, but then there's something that it's on other teams, and you may actually should be able to see those as well. Yeah, understood. Cool. So we're running out of time for you. I just wanted to ask a final question. Well, actually, two of them. So, would you be able to to relay changes in customer satisfaction and first contact resolution to tie it to transversal usage. Would you agree that it's actually driving that kind of results?
It's one of those things that we would absolutely love to say as a result of introducing Albert, our NPS has gone up and our call handling time has gone down, but the reality is it hasn't changed massively, or there wasn't a clear sort of change over the couple of years that we've used it. And because of the industry we're in, where we've got so many different services, and it's constantly changing in the energy market, like the smart meters that have been involved that hike up our call times massively, we don't really have any sort of clear metrics other than advisors and users of Transversal saying, yeah, this is definitely better than our old system. There's nothing really quantifiable.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Although we'd love to hang our hat and say we've saved X amount of pounds a year with it, but it's difficult.
Yeah, understood. No problem. The final would be, would you be happy to run a fast 10-question survey on the agents that I could arrange for that, probably a web link? Would that be good for you? Or probably I can give you the questions and you run it in your platform. I don't know if you have something like that.
Yeah, I can certainly ask the question. How many questions do you think will be on the survey?
Should be 10 questions, no more than that. And they're very easy to answer. It's just I give a phrase and then you say how likely are you in agreement or disagreement with that item from 1 to 7, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you send it over, I can certainly see if that's something we can do for Transversal.
Cool.
How many people are you looking to get a response from?
As much as possible, but I understand that I don't want you to really create a disruption on you guys. I understand that you have very.
We just need to we just need to check how we could do that, or if it's
Yeah, only, I don't know, 20 people, 25 people would be fantastic, and then
that shouldn't be a problem.
Cool. Okay, I have already your email address, which I got when you were saying that you were going to be 5 minutes late, and then I will send you the questions, and we can arrange some way to deliver it. It could be like a Google Forms or some other way to do it.
Sure.
Is that okay? All right, Max.
Yeah, no, sure. So, yeah, you send those up.
Thank you very much. It's been really helpful.
No, my pleasure, Daniel. If any other questions come up, you've got my email address. Just whiz them over.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.